Thank you, sir. Thank you, Kamlesh sir, and thank you, Sharath sir, and also thank you, Manjushri ma'am, for joining in for today's session, and thank you to all the participants for joining in for the last session for TT. Before we start, as you all know, there are a few instructions that we give out. First and foremost, the chat box should be only used for putting in your queries and nothing else. Secondly, as mentioned, that the registration link for the examination, the online examination that will be conducted on 31st and 30th of May. For the registration details, we just will be sharing a Google form with you, a link of the Google form with you guys. You just need to fill up that Google form so that the details can be shared to you, tracked back and shared to you in due time. And third, there's a link, a Google Drive link that will also be shared during the session in the chat box. Just keep a note that that link includes all the sessions, all the PDFs of the sessions that have been held so far. So in case you are looking for the study material, there it is readily available. And also I would like to announce that we will be putting all the videos on YouTube. A channel has already been created. And regarding that, you just need to keep a lookout on the SAI website, the official SAI website, where the link will be shared within a few days. So just keep a lookout whenever the link is shared in the notification box. You can just go to the link and view all the videos of the sessions that have been held so far. Thank you, and over to Kamlesh.
A very good afternoon to everybody. Vishwajit has mentioned all the advisory or advices that or instructions given. Please do follow it. And one important thing, thanks to the technology, all these valuable talks that we've had, this is the 20th session that's going on, from 18 eminent persons with full of experience and knowledge. It's going to be made available to you for your references. All you need to do is that check the Sports Authority of India site. After a few days, it will be available on YouTube. So through that, you can all go through. If at all you have missed out or not been able to understand anything, that's a wonderful thing about the new technology. And that's because of that technology that we all are in this difficult time when we all are at different places, but on one platform for the common thing for betterment of table tennis. Today is the 20th session, and today is going to be the last session of this online coach development program initiated by Sports Authority of India and Table Tennis Federation of India. We are really thankful to them that they have thought of this, and through technology they have brought us all together in this time of difficulty. We also wish to thank the technical team which has made it possible. Thank you all very much. Vishwajit, please thank the entire team on our behalf. We also have the evaluator, Manjushri Madam. She is there for every session and giving us very valuable inputs to make our sessions better and better. We must thank each and every eminent speaker who has come, sharing their valuable time, sharing their invaluable knowledge and experience with us for our own benefit. For me, it has been a great learning experience. Today's speaker, of course, does not require any introduction whatsoever. The name itself is sufficient. Achanta Sharath Kamal. You ask this, you mention this name in the entire world of table tennis, and they know which country he is from, what is he. He has been an ambassador for our country for so many years. Great team person, guiding the youngsters, and first and only Padma Shri table tennis player of our country, Arjuna Awardee, coming from an absolutely table tennis family. 4 members of his family have represented India in table tennis. Besides his contribution, his family's contribution is very large. His father, Dronacharya Awardee, his uncle, a national coach, his brother, a known analyst, and now a coach, and of course, was a national level player himself. So it's very great honor to have you, Sharath, once again on this show. Thank you for sparing such a valuable time. It's over to you, Sharath. Everybody is very keen and eager to listen to you. Thank you, Sharath.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for the fantastic introduction you've given on me and my family. Well, I think it's my honor to be here, and like to thank Sai and TTFI for giving all of us this opportunity and keeping all of us busy during the lockdown period. I think especially the technical team and Biswajit have been the most busiest people probably in India during the lockdown time. This morning also I was telling him about that. Well, it's a really good initiative, and I think keeping ourselves occupied and in gaining knowledge is the best way to spend time. So here I am today going to talk about. I'm here. The topic today will be injury management and my longevity of the sport. So firstly, I would like to talk about injury management, how I had a major injury in 2015 and how I came across that situation back then with the help of a fantastic support team. And my second innings, let's say my second career started after the injury. And I think I've been doing very, very well since then. So you can always, probably you can say Sharath Kamal before the injury and Sharath Kamal after the injury. So there are a few insights I would like to share on this topic today. So firstly, I would like to show a video on how I got injured during the World Championships in 2015. Biswajit sir, can you please let me share my screen?
Biswajit, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Yeah, I have it.
Thanks,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah. So this is a video on how I got. I was it was during a match. So I was playing Simon Gauzy in the 2015 World Championships in China. I was 3-0.
The audio is coming. The video is not showing right now. I think you have to minimize the screen.
Minimize the screen. Okay.
I think
you can see it.
Not
can
yet.
You see it now?
Not yet. I think just access the toolbar. It's somewhere down there.
Just a minute. Probably I'll do it again.
Vishwajit, if you can do it.
Just let Sharath sir try once. If not, I'll do it.
Yeah, sure. May I request everybody to be patient? Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming now.
Now it's there. Yeah.
Because the match was over, not because not because I won the match, but more because the match was over and I didn't have to strain myself and go through that pain so much.
Little louder, Sharath.
Yeah. So this was how I got injured in that match, and once I got back home to Germany, I was at that point of time living in Germany. Once I got back to Germany, I got an MRI done, and the radiologist already there in the MRI, he said, you have to get a surgery done. There's no way you can live without a surgery. So already there, I was quite depressed. I thought I could manage it without a surgery, but the cut was too big, so I had to do a surgery. And my doctor, he was saying that he hasn't seen a cut like this generally with table tennis players. The cut, what happened with the injury was more of a football player's injury, where they run a lot, and they have those kind of injuries. So then my doctor consulted another doctor from a football club, and and that doctor operated me. After the operation, uh, both the doctor and the physio were very doubtful if I could come back to play table tennis. They said, one more time the injury reoccurs, one more time if I tear the hamstring, my career is over. So I have to be very, very careful with my rehab. I have to have very high discipline, and even at the end of the rehab, there is no guarantee that I will be able to play. So that's very, very hard. That's really very hard, for especially for your mind to process that you will not be able to play table tennis, or the sport which is your identity, and identity is taken away from you. So I was totally devastated when I heard that. But then, yeah, that was the negative side. But then they said, yes, it is possible to come back into play. There are some 30% chances where other football players have come back from this injury. So if we train well, and if we plan well and have a good structure, and not hurry back into playing, then there's a good chance of me coming back. So after the operation, I was on a wheelchair for 4 weeks, and I was on crutches. I was on sticks. I was on sticks for another 2 weeks. So I spent all the time, all this time in Germany. I was there. So initially, my family was also there with me, my wife and my daughter. My daughter was almost 4 years old back then. So my wife and daughter were also there to support me. But after a point, my daughter's school started off, and my wife and daughter had to go back home. But anyway, by that time, I also was able to manage things by myself, and I was slowly able to walk. So during the first 4 weeks of me being in a wheelchair, uh, directly after the first 1 week or 10 days, rehab started off, because I had to keep strengthening the other muscles in my body. Because if I don't do anything for 6 weeks, my complete muscle structure will go for a waste, and I'll have to start all over again. So the physio started to build the other muscles, like help me build the other muscles, exercises for the other muscles, and keeping the right leg. I was injured on the right hamstring, keeping the right leg stationary. So that was how I started off the rehab. And then slowly, when I started walking, the first thing was I had to walk. So I will also show you a video where I started to walk, my first day of walking without crutches, or without any support, even though I was holding the treadmill a little bit.
So the video is not coming.
Okay, one more time. I'll share it again. You can see the video now.
Yeah,
see.
you can. And this was after 4 weeks, right, Sharath?
Yes, sir. This was after 4 weeks.
Even after 4 weeks, you could barely walk.
Barely walk now. This was almost after 5 weeks, sir. Not even 4 weeks.
Okay.
I was on crutches back then.
Okay.
And then slowly started to walk. So the thing is, when we have an injury, the muscles forget what is being taught. There's no muscle memory anymore. So I had to teach my right leg to walk, to jump, to do simple things which you don't even apply your mind, because you learn it as a child. You learn things as a child, and you don't have to teach really yourself how to do that. Simple things like hopping. I couldn't hop on the right leg for a very long time. I still can't like when I go on a steps on when I go on steps a little bit faster, my right leg doesn't have the coordination. My left leg goes faster than my right leg. So that is how, you know, the muscles forget, because the brain doesn't send any more signals to that part of the muscle, because it's not used for almost 4 to 6 weeks, and you have to, you know, start teaching it as if it's a small child again. So I started walking back, and then slowly started doing my rehab exercises. uh, yeah, my rehab exercises with the physio. There's a lot of single leg exercises, especially for my right leg, trying to teach it the basic things, basic activities of the leg. So we started doing these exercises, and then even after three weeks of rehab, uh, I was not showing the right signs of improvement. My legs were not working the way it should be working. My knees were hurting a lot. Both my knees were hurting very much. The patella was being damaged a lot. So I also didn't know why this was happening. So when I complained this back to the doctor asked for a second MRI. And when the second MRI was done, the doctor found out that there's been a minor mistake that's been done in the operation, and he was really very sorry. Like, he was completely sorry. He felt like he recommended the doctor, and, you know, there was a mistake done. So once already I've been in a negative phase, you know, there have been a lot of times when I've gone to the physio's clinic. I've sat there for almost 1 hour without going into the clinic, and just went back home, because I was basically depressed. I was negative. I didn't know, you know, if this will help me, this will not help me. Will I be back on my track? So it was really a difficult point of time in my career, because an injury doesn't just affect you physically, but affects you more mentally. And there's always this anxiety of coming back faster. So coming back onto the court and competing, you know, training faster. But I think everything has a process. Depending on the injury, there's a time frame onto how long your body takes to heal, and you can start working on. If it's a simple grade one tear or a sprain, you probably need 1 week or 10 days of you know, in the beginning, first a few days of rest, and then some rehabilitation exercises, and then you can start playing. So everything has a process. You cannot speeden up this process. So that's that makes it, you know, mentally very challenging, and it makes it very difficult, because as a professional sports person, I want to come back into the sport. So once this message was delivered from my doctor, I was shattered. I was completely shattered. Then I went back to my coach, table tennis coach, and I said, "See, this is the situation." But he's been on, because the ortho, the sports doctor, the sports ortho, the physio, and the coach are three very well connected. They are all three working together to help me get back. So the coach and the ortho and the physio, in the beginning, they made a plan that, okay, first 6 weeks I need to take complete rest, and then we'll start with the rehab for 4 weeks, and then after that I will start. By the third week of rehab, I can start slowly table tennis, and probably, let's say, by this happened in May, so in the beginning of May, so by September or August, end of August, beginning of September, I will be ready, completely ready to play. But with the delay in the process of, you know, because being the operation not going on successfully well, it delayed by another 2 to 3 weeks. So when I got this information by the end of July, I told my coach, table tennis coach, I want to go back home, because I'm too lonely here, and I'm not able to handle the whole thing all by myself. Probably it will be a good change. And my coach directly said, yes, you should go home, because I think it's important that you have people around. And he said, okay, go for 10 days and then come back for the first Bundesliga game. The first Bundesliga game at that point of time was almost on the 14th or 15th of August. So I came home. Then I checked it up with my regular doctor here in Chennai, and he had recommended me to go to Ramachandra Medical College, which has a sports science department. So once I went there, the kind of tests they made me do and the kind of statistical data they had given me, like they made me move some do some exercises in which they measured how much percentage the quadriceps are working, how much percentage the hamstrings are working, how much percentage the calf is working. Everything was in statistical data, and the end of the study there, end of the treatment there, they came up with the thing that it could have been a medical mistake that's happened with the muscle, but functionally the muscle is working as it should be working, and the muscles around it, let's say the gluteus or the hamstring or the quadriceps, are helping that area work as it should be doing. So once I had that information, that gave me a lot of confidence. And also the 10-day break when I was home, that also changed the environment a bit for me, and it helped me a bit. When I went back to Germany and started the rehab again, uh, things started off very fast from there. Things picked up very fast from there. I was able to get to the shape where I wanted to. I started table tennis training. I would also like to share one of my first table tennis training sessions, where I'm practicing against the coach, and the physio is also there helping me figure out how my muscles are working. So this is the video. Can you see the video now?
No, we are not able to see.
One more time. So
Yeah, no, sorry. It's your screen is come up, not the
yeah,
video.
one more time. You can see it, sir?
No.
Not again.
Double click. I think that will double click.
Can you see it?
No.
No.
Biswajit, can you guide him? One second. No, it's your screen again coming
My screen
back.
again. Okay.
I think your this media file is playing in the toolbar. Just look.
Okay. Can you see it now?
No.
There's nothing playing here.
Should I share from my end?
Biswajit, can you do that?
Yeah, I'll
request
Yeah.
everybody
Can you
to
play
be
the?
patient.
Yeah. Can you play
Just
the
a moment.
rehab practice?
Just a moment.
Rehab practice MP4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
now we can see this.
Yeah. So this is one of my first sessions where the physio is also there. I'm actually talking to this physio. So the physio there is trying to explain to me, don't hunch your back, trust your legs, go down on your legs. That is what he's been trying to explain. And the coach is here on this side of the table, helping me out. You can clearly see that I'm not able to move my legs, especially my right leg. And I've put on a little bit of weight also. So there's a clear discussion on what's happening with my body and what the physio wants me to do. Then the coach will also explain what he wants me to do. So yeah, this was one of my first practice sessions. The first practice session, I still remember, the coach made me just play forehand counters for almost 4 minutes. Backhand counters for 4 minutes. I've never done that. I've never done that. Back in the days when I was younger, there wouldn't be so many tables to practice, and we used to be a lot of players. So warming up was like very, very quick, very fast, and you have to start practicing. And then here I came back, and then the coach was like, okay, let's start with forehand counters for 4 minutes. I said, what will I do just playing forehand counters? But then the physio and the coach made me understand that the muscles need to adapt. The muscles need to learn. They need to come back into the kind of conditioning you used to have before. So it takes, you need to teach it slowly. You need to get back to the basics, get back to the fundamentals. So that was a very new learning for me at that point of time. So it was very, very important that I started, then slowly over the period of time, after 2.5 weeks was when I was able to play a little bit of like I could serve and play. But until 2.5 weeks, I was playing regular exercises, regular counter, topspin, or simple exercises like 2-2 or backhand middle, backhand forehand, just to get the rhythm, have awareness of the body, see which part is paining, which part is working more, which part is working less, and then try to come into the right position. So it was a major process, and this was how I could start table tennis again. And even then, even after starting table tennis, I started competing by almost late September, but I could only actually play competitively, a decent level of table tennis from December only. So even though I started competing and playing matches by September, it took me still another 3 months to actually start winning a few matches, or playing table tennis at a high level. Even though if there were sometimes, even though I lost matches, it's not that I always won matches, but it takes time. So December, we started coming back. But then after that, things started moving quite fast. I still remember February 2016. So December 2015 was when I started playing well. February 2016 was the World Championships in Malaysia, when India was in the second division. We were seated, I think our rank was around 26 or 27 back then. And we go on to win the second division for the first time ever. We went on to beat Nigeria in the quarterfinals. Semifinals, we beat Egypt, with whom we had lost in the previous World Championships. And in the finals, we beat Brazil. Hugo Calderano was beaten by Hartmut Desai. That was one of the fantastic matches I've ever seen. So that was, we won the gold medal there. And that was, and once you are in the finals, you get a guaranteed place to play the Champions Division, the first division. So I think that was when it's all started off. But even during that tournament in Malaysia, there were minor injuries which comes along with a major injury. Many times when you're injured, there are other muscles which tend to overwork, and those muscles
Your
start to
sound
get
is
injured.
breaking.
Yeah. Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me again properly?
Yeah, this is clear. This is clear.
Yeah. So yeah, as I was telling, when you have a big injury, major injury, when you start to come back, there will be other smaller muscles which are working more to support the movements which get injured. So there will be small niggles after a major injury. So even during the World Championships, I had a lot of pain on my feet, on my toes, especially because the small muscles around my feet, my toe, and my calf were paining a lot. So I was completely taped for the semi-finals, for the almost quarterfinals and semi-finals. Quarterfinals when I played against Aruna Quadri, I still remember, and the semi-finals against Omar Asar. Against Omar Asar, I really didn't know if I could play, but I said, okay, this is the most important match of this tournament and probably of my career. So let me go in and give it a try. And the same way, again in April, at the Olympic qualifiers, the first match I was playing against Anthony Amalraj. I was 3-1 up, 10-8 up. My back completely was blocked. I couldn't move. I couldn't even bend down to serve. So all these are issues which come up with a major injury. or with one injury follows another injury. So we have to be very, very disciplined in treating our body with injuries. So because when one muscle is not working, another muscle takes over, trying to help that muscle, and in turn that muscle gets injured. So even then, yeah, I was not able to even bend down. So from that place, I could actually come back and actually get that berth for the Olympic qualifiers to the Olympic Games in Rio. I should actually thank the physio back
Your
there,
voice.
Hirok Bachi, I should thank the physio back then who was traveling with the team, Mr. Hirok Bachi, who's still with the Indian national team. So these are the the niggles which keep coming on and off after major injuries, and it's very, very important that we keep our discipline and our mental strength together. And from there onwards, I moved to Chennai. After that season in Germany, I moved back to Chennai. I started working with Ramji Srinivasan, an ex BCCI trainer. And since then, I've grown very much stronger physically, and I haven't had any injury until now. So I think that's one of the best moves I've done in my career. So this is what I wanted to share my experience with my injury. I'll just show you my present PowerPoint presentation. So yeah, sir, can you see my
No.
slide? You
No.
can't.
So can you just minimize this screen, this window screen?
Minimize it.
Yeah, minimize this thing, this injury management, the file that you opened, no? Minimize.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I think it's on left hand corner, right?
Okay.
So it's not been minimized yet.
Okay.
Vishwajit, can you handle it?
Okay, let me share it, sir.
Yeah.
Just a minute. Yeah. Let me see.
So I'm sharing it from my end.
You're
Just
sharing it. Okay.
yeah.
You're sharing it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's coming. Can you make it full screen?
So can you go into the second page? Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go into the second page.
Yes.
So, what are the common reasons for our injuries in table tennis or in sport generally? Are a weakness in muscles, tendons, or ligaments. That's because haven't trained them well, or Or the second reason, overuse of muscles without proper recovery, or sudden or explosive movements by which you can especially during a match or in practice, you try to catch a ball which is far away, and you can probably be injured during that time. Or we have structural abnormalities like let's say a flat foot, or anything like that, where which tends to have more injuries. Or then if we have poor training methods or techniques, like if our forehand technique or our backhand technique is not good enough, or let's say the place where we or the facility where we play in is not proper, then the probabilities of being injured are more. Or unsafe exercising environments, that is also again the facilities, if it's not good enough, then that is also a reason for being injured. So this is these are these are reasons which generally are happen. Of course, I'm not a physio or a doctor to say to give you very much in-depth reasons for what is happening. This is from my experience. This is what I am sharing. Can we go on to the next page, please? So what do we do immediately after an injury? So these are some basic information or knowledge which every player or coach should know, because injuries do happen in sport, and you know like, anybody around in the sport hall, or around the players or coaches, the players or coaches who are around should be able to understand uh, basic injury management. So the first thing is, it's the short form is called RICE. It's rest, ice, compression, and elevation. So rest is, we have to keep the injured area supported and avoid using it for 2 to 3 days, 48 hours to 72 hours, so that we don't aggravate the injury. So what I did in that match against Simon Rossi should be avoided normally. So the next thing is ice. So ice is the first thing you should be doing after an injury. Doesn't matter what kind of an injury it is. I think you should first try to apply ice around the injured area. So here you need to, once you get injured and you get back to the hotel or even at the stadium, you apply ice to the injured area for 10 minutes to 20 minutes every 2 hours for 48 to 72 hours. So every 2 to 3 days. And then compression. So basically you try to have a bandage, elastic bandage, like a crepe bandage or a kinesio tape around that area, so that that area is supported and the circulation of blood is restricted to that point at the first place. Because the more the blood is circulated, uh, at that point of time, you feel more pain. So that's the exact thing what ice also does. And elevation, rise the injured area above the heart level. So basically you need, if you're injured on the leg, so try to lie down on the floor or on the bed and raise your legs above by keeping 2-3 pillows near your leg. So that's how you try to manage the injury directly after, when you don't have support around. You need to understand the kind of injury, if it's a sprain or a spasm or a strain or a tear, or bigger things like that. So if if you have a spasm or a muscle stiffness, then icing might not help. Then you need to keep heating. Heating will increase the bleeding, increase the blood circulation to that part of the thing. So uh, so you need to understand what happened, what kind of pain it is. Then again, massage will increase swelling and bleeding and delay in healing. So the 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 best thing at that point of time is to try to contact a doctor or a physio. So you try to take professional help from a ortho or a physio. So until then, you can just ice it and leave it at that. Try to rest and try not moving it. And then comes the rehabilitation process, where you first rehabilitate the injured area, then you strengthen it, and then you come strengthen and conditioning, and then you come into skill training. So don't be in a hurry. Don't. This is the process on how you rehab, how the rehab works, and come back into play. So first you need to rehabilitate. So basically, all the resting and compression and elevation has to happen, and then you need to strengthen that part of the muscle or that part of the body, and then you can start off with your skill training, let's say, or table tennis training. Next slide, please. So this is how the support staff should be working uh, around the player. This is not just during an injury, but during the whole season. This is how it should be working. So first, the sports ortho, the doctor has to diagnose the problem. If it's a major injury, you go to a doctor. If it's a minor injury, the physio can himself diagnose it and treat it. So first you go to a doctor. So the doctor diagnoses it and probably even prescribes medicine for faster healing of a painkiller. Then he explains it to the physio on which muscle has been damaged and which way can be proceeded, which exercises can be done. Then the physio designs the exercises, and then he gets an active feedback from the player on, okay, if you do this exercise, if the muscles are working, or is it hurting, and all this has to be communicated with the coach. The coach also has to have a clear feedback from the player and the physio and the doctor onto what is happening with the player, and at the same time, uh, you know uh, when the player can start practicing and stuff. So uh, in the whole exercise, I think the player needs to give clear feedback to all the three of them, to the coach, the physio, and the doctor, about what he is feeling. Because if he needs to have trust in the support staff. If there's no trust, then there's no point in having a support staff, and it's not going to help you get back or heal the injury faster. I think it's very, very important. It's very, very important. It's very, very important to have a clear understanding on what the player needs. So next, so the player's responsibility as during a rehabilitation process after he gets injured, let it be a minor injury or major injury. Most important things is we have to be very well disciplined and patient during the whole process. We have to go through the whole process. If it's 10 days, we need to work those 10 days. We cannot say, okay, let's get done with it in 5 days or 6 days and start off with the skill training. Of course, you can start off with the skill training, but the rehab process has to continue. It is like an antibiotic which your doctor gives for a virus. If you don't complete the course, then there's no point in starting off the course. So the same way in the process of rehabilitation also, we have to complete the whole process. Then we have to be aware and listen to our body. Many times, even before the injury comes to us or happens, or even during the rehab process, the mind is giving us clear signals that something wrong is happening or something good is happening. So we need to listen to our body. Like in my injury, there was a clear instruction from my body that my back is being very stiff and I need to take care of it. I need to first recover from it. But I pushed myself through through the pain, and I got injured. So that is something what we should be doing, listening to our body. And don't be anxious to start training or competing early. Again, of course, every tournament is important as far as players are concerned. The next tournament, next state ranking is important. The next national ranking is important. The next international tournament is important. It's important for you. It is important for the coach. It's important for the parents. It's important for everybody. But every tournament will, will have its importance. And if you miss one, it is fine. It doesn't it's better to be completely recovered and start competing than to start competing in the middle of the rehab process, be injured for another 2 more weeks, and then again go back to rehab. So it's better to go through the whole process, finish it completely, and then start with the rehab. And then the next one is keeping oneself
just intervening
occupied.
1 second. So give me just.
Yeah.
So you can continue.
So keeping oneself occupied and being positive. This is something which is for the professional players who are who are playing, practicing most of the time, and so many times an idle brain is a devil's workshop. That is when we get negative and anxious and everything. So I think it's very important that we keep ourselves occupied with probably doing some video analysis, or rectifying some other things in our technique, or in our working on our body and other parts, and trying to be positive. It's very, very important to be positive, because with me, I could clearly see the 10 days break I took at home, gave me a positive outlook, and things worked very fast from there. The process of rehab and training picked up very, very fast from there. So it's very important there. Next slide, please. So the coach's role post injury. So the coach has to have a basic knowledge of injuries and first aid. For this, I think you also need to speak to a few physiotherapists or doctors or players who are injured. Just do a little bit of research by yourself to understand what happens during injuries, and basic knowledge of first aid, the simple thing of icing, what is
Your voice is breaking, Sharath.
to
Sharath, your voice is breaking.
being able to tie a yeah. Okay, sir. So being able to know how to tie a bandage around the injured area, or helping with the kinesio tape. These are basic knowledge which a coach should be able to know. Then second thing is work in synergy with the recovery team of sports ortho and physio. I think that's very, very important, because it should not be that the player is going to the physio or the ortho doing whatever they're saying, and then he's coming to the coach and the coach is doing whatever feels best. I think all the three have to work together to help the player. There is no thing like this is more important now, or let's say uh, rehab is more important, or the skill is more important. You don't need to have a bias on that. I think it's very clear when the doctor and the physio and the coach work in synergy with the player and help the player's best interest come out. Then also after even let it be a simple injury, a minor injury or grade 1 injury, we have to start back with the fundamentals little bit on the court. Let's say we cannot directly go into service and exercises, or irregular exercises. We have to start off with basic fundamentals on working on making that muscle work and move, and understanding the pain also. And you need to be an active listener, or be aware of what's happening with the player. So again, many times the player might not give you the right feedback. Maybe the player doesn't understand what's happening with him, but see, watching it from outside, you can clearly see that the player is not able to do his best, or uh, get in for a specific movement that is happening. I think there you need to be aware, and don't be too hard on the player. Don't push too hard. Be patient and understand the process. This is exactly what I told as a player also, to the player also. You need to understand the process and be patient. There's no hurry. If this tournament misses, there's always another tournament to catch up with. So there's no hurry. And the player needs more attention at that point of time, and positivity. So a few words of encouragement at that point of time, when the player is injured, will bring a sea of change in his attitude. So it's very, very important that you maintain the positivity and the motivation for the player. Next slide, please. So yeah, this is I've just given a few importance of physical fitness in sport. You know, so fitness and skills are both equally important traits. So it's very, very important that we maintain our fitness, and because many times we tend to practice more on the table and avoiding to do fitness because probably of course table tennis is a very skillful game, and you need to spend more time on the table, but you need to have equal importance to fitness, because if you want to compete against international players, you want to beat the best in the business, you need to be physically fit. And you can see that is happening with the current players because we are improving on our fitness levels. It helps in better coordination and avoiding injuries too. So if you want to have a successful career which is also long, you need to avoid injuries. So only if you're physically fit will you avoid injuries. And also physical fitness helps you develop into being mentally strong, because if you're able to push yourself for that last extra round in the running session, when when everybody is giving up, when you are giving up, when you push yourself for that extra last one lap, that is when you're becoming mentally stronger than yourself, than the rest of the others. So it also helps you to be mentally strong. So this is regarding my injury management. uh, then the second topic, let me keep it short now. I think we've uh, uh, my longevity of a sporting career. So I've been playing for India since 2002. Uh, I've been around for almost 18 years now, and I've played 4 Commonwealth Games, 4 Asian Games, 3 Olympic Games, and probably a few more, uh, at least one more Olympic Games and Commonwealth Games and Asian Games in the near future too. So the main reasons for my longevity is with my physical fitness. I've been since a very young age, I've been inclined towards physical fitness, thanks to watching idols like Kamlesh sir or S Raman, where they have been very, very physically demanding with themselves in the sport. So that actually made me also understand that physical fitness is very, very important at a very young age, and I started working on my physical fitness. So I've had to be thank God that I've had very few injuries. Of course, I've had the big one in 2015, but apart from that, I haven't had many injuries in my career. uh, that's the main reason being I've always worked on my physical fitness. I've had a good mental balance. That's the same thing which is on point number 4 also: work life balance, personal life, and professional life balance. I've had very good support from my family from a very young age. Even if it's, let's say, even my from my parents family, like my mother, father, my uncle, who are my coaches, father and uncle who are my coaches, my mother who's there, my brother, or now currently with my wife and with my kids. I think when your professional life is pretty stable and pretty smooth, your professional life is better. You're able to concentrate more on your professional life, and you're able to perform better. So I think that's also something which, as coaches or as people in the ecosystem, we need to understand that the player needs to focus on the sport alone and not on let's say financial issues or personal issues at home. So it'll be best if the player is able to just focus on the sport. So that's very, very important. A lot of people have kept asking me this question: what keeps me going for so many years? I think it's just the motivation to win that one extra medal for our country. So until I missed out on 2012 Olympic Games after playing 2004 and 2008. So I always wanted. From there, I pushed myself to 2016 Olympic Games, where I wanted to perform well, and if there's a winning, if I could win a medal there. But the injury in 2015 halted everything, and I could only participate in the Olympic Games. And after post that, it was the Asian Games in 2018. Winning that medal for the first time in 60 years. Uh, these kind of goals in my life have always kept me looking forward. And once I won the Asian Games gold medal, I'm looking for the Olympic medal in 2021, which was supposed to be in 2020, now in 2021. So I've always had goals which I was looking forward up to, and that is what has kept me motivating and keeping me forward. And at the same time, the competition in the domestic circuit, like younger players like Satyan and Harmit and Somajit Ghosh, they have also kept me on my toes, because once they started beating me, then I felt like, okay, I need to stand up to them, and I need to do well and perform better. So that is also a healthy competition which has evolved within ourselves. And then I've had a good support staff of coach, fitness trainer, and physio. Fitness trainer and physio, I think since I moved back to, I've had a good support system in Germany itself, with a good physio and a fitness trainer and a doctor. That has also helped me, stay fit and stay away from injuries for a long period of time. At the same time, when I moved back to Chennai, also I have a good support staff around me. Regarding the coach, that's something I would like to explain a little bit more in my career. How a coach's influence has helped me, come this far. Because this is for the coaches of India, or probably a few other coaches from the other parts of the world are also watching this. I'm not sure, but I think it's something which I would like to share my experiences with the coaches I've seen in my career, and uh, that's something which which is a feel good factor for any coach who is part of this development program. So firstly, over the last 18 years of my national team career, I've trained with 7 foreign national team coaches, 7 foreign coaches who've been our national team coaches right from 2002. So some of them have come in for 1 year, a couple of them have come in for 6 months, a few of them have come for 2 to 3 years. But the maximum benefit
Sharath, your voice is breaking. Hello. Sharath, we cannot hear you.
Coach who's helped me.
Hello, Sharath, we missed you.
Sir.
Yeah, we missed out the last point. Can you just repeat?
Sorry, sir. One more time.
Your voice was breaking. Yeah, last one.
Yeah, I was just telling, in my career of 18 years, I've worked with 7 foreign coaches who worked with our national team. 1 coach in Spain, Spanish club when I played there. 2 coaches the German national team, and 1 part-time coach who's from Sweden. Apart from this, I've worked with the Indian coaches, namely late Mr. Bhavani sir. Kamlesh sir has been my first coach. With my first Asian Championships. Kamlesh sir has still been my coach. I think he can't help that side of him coming in. Even in UTT, he is coming down to me. Why did you hit that shot with backhand or forehand? You could have just gone in for the backhand. He still stresses on the point that I should use my backhand much more than my forehand, and that's one of the most important factors which has helped me to keep my career this long, improving on the backhand technique. So I think with all the coaches I've seen in my career, there is something to learn from every coach I have worked with. With some, there could be more, with some, there could be less, but every coach has something to add to you. It is our adaptability as a player to take what suits us and leave what doesn't suit us. So I think as players also, it's very, very important to understand what the coach is saying. Probably every coach is saying the same thing, but the way they say it could be different, and the way we understand it has to be, is also different. But we'll have to understand the basic motto of what is being explained. So this is a quote which which I've heard a long time ago, that you you don't need a coach when the sun is shining and when the birds are singing. You need a coach on a rainy day. So that is, that's very, very important, because a coach doesn't just play the role of teaching you a technique of playing how to play the backhand or forehand, but he is also being the motivator, being the leader. uh, he is an all in all. He is the jugadu. He has to solve the problems. So being a player is easier because I need to just take care of myself. Being a coach, I need to take care of a bunch of players, and I need to adapt into the individuality of every player. So 2011 I hit the lowest of lows. I didn't qualify for the Olympic Games in 2012. I lost the national championships for the first time after 5 years. I went down on the world rankings to 94. I think that was the worst ranking since 2008. I think I've never been there at that ranking. So uh, at that point of time, I think the coaches are the ones who have helped me. Even now, when Muralidhar Rao sir calls me up and talks to me, he's motivating me and trying to tell me not just 2021, 2024 is also a good possibility for me, and he keeps me pushing further ahead. And he is one of the main reasons as a youngster, when he started me aim big and dream big, because he said we've from the club where my father and uncle have been coaching, they have produced national champions and Arjuna awardees and the Olympians, but no one winning international medals. So they were always
Sharath, your voice is again breaking. Hello.
And the second thing is the most important thing at that point of time in 2011 was, I worked back.
Hello, Sharath, your voice
You
is
hear
again.
me, sir?
Now it's
Hear me?
okay. This is correct.
Yeah. You hear me again? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So to sum it up, I would say, we need to, as players, we need to trust the coach, and the coaches need to trust the players. I think it's there has to be a very healthy dialogue between both the coach and the player, and the process has to be understood by both of them. The aim of both the coach and the player has to be the same. The coach cannot aim to make the player an international champion, and the player cannot aim to be a state champion or a national level player. So I think both need to understand the requirements of one and each other, and the coach can push the limits of a player. So a coach is the one who can push the maximum limit, because a player always looks up to somebody. He needs somebody to help them. The player needs somebody to help himself through his career, through his practice. And I think the coach is the one who is doing this very important job. uh, let's say, many can say it's an ungrateful job, but I think end of the day, the player knows it is because of the coach that we are as players where we are. So with this, I would like to thank one and all for this wonderful presentation, and back to you, Kamlesh, sir, for the question answers.
We are the one who should be thanking you, Sharath, for a wonderful presentation. Your thought process, you have clarified so many things which many people wanted to ask you. And it's so relevant that during that 6 weeks you were alone in Germany. And right now, if you go to see, we are all 6 weeks, we are all also in the same. So it is so relevant with this time. I'm sure you are already pointed out so many positive and directions. Hello.
That's understood.
Yeah. So the direction that you have given is so relevant with the situation right now, and it's so nice that 6 weeks of no exercise would definitely your muscle will lose a lot of their memories. So best is to continue doing it, though you may not be able to do it on table. Maybe you can do shadow practice, you can do physical fitness, so that your muscle memory is kept as sharp as it could in this difficult time. So when you go back on the table, it takes much lesser time for you to come back. And one other point you said is about team spirit. Wherever you said that it's a team spirit, it's a teamwork. You mentioned the coach. You mentioned about Bhavani's role. You mentioned the role of the physio and the German physio, then your doctor, then your team, your club coach. And then when you came back, it was your family environment that actually helped you to recover fast. And then the Indian hospital, Ramchandran, you mentioned how good they were. They actually give you a lot of insight. At the age of 32, you learned so many new things. And yes, after having such a major injury, when everybody said were doubtful about your coming back to sports, and then you came back slowly. I think you would have played so many matches. The mental toughness that you you have displayed is fantastic. Yes, we'll go into some question answers. Sorry, Mr. Sharma. We have Mr. Shiv Sharma, Regional Director, with us, and we also have Table Tennis Federation of India's General Secretary, MP Singh, with us. So, Sharmaji, would you like to thank everybody?
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Kamleshji. Indeed grateful. Kamleshji, you have driven the program so efficiently. Everybody has been praising your efforts. I'm really thankful to you. In fact, the Sai is grateful to you. हमारा इसमें ना विश्वजीत लाइन पर मैडम अपनी डिप्टी डायरेक्टर मैडम नहीं है वो लाइन पे होंगी, चलो उनको अनम्यूट करिए, मैडम को अनम्यूट करिए,
मंजूश्री मैम को
हाँ अनम्यूट करिए और उनको जरा, बिकॉज़ शी हैज बीन
यस आई हैव अनम्यूटेड
शी इज ऑनलाइन
मंजूश्री मैम आई हैव अनम्यूटेड
तो लेटर she's in
Manjushri ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Hi, Sharma ji. All the participants, please wait. We have got some people wanting to give some important message to us, and after that, we are going to take some question answers from Sharath. I am sure nobody would like to miss the opportunity to listen to Sharath more.
So there's still question and answer sessions left. So in that case, Ramji, let me over. Then we speak.
You can convey your message, and then we'll go on with the question and answer session.
Okay. Yeah. क्या मंजूश्री है क्या? देखिए मंजूश्री.
Yeah, Manjushri ma'am is there, sir.
Yes, sir. I have unmuted.
नमस्कार शर्मा जी.
नमस्कार मैडम, आप अपना एक्सपीरियंस बताइए. आप पूरे हर एक लेक्चर को आपने सुना है, तो let there be a thing giving from your side.
Well, I personally feel that as a Sports Authority of India officer, it was my duty to be part of this as an evaluator. But looking at people who were sharing their experience, some of them were coaches, some of them were players. But I personally got to learn a lot. And I think being an evaluator is a very responsible job. Because at the same time, we're making sure that the technology is doing its work. But I must say that the effort made by TTFI, and of course Kamlesh, who's personally a very dear friend, Kamlesh made sure that every instructor who's part of this program is chosen for the right subject. So the content of the of the day was chosen So the instructor and the subject was very intertwined. And I think that takes a very intelligent and an experienced man to do that, which of course Kamlesh is. All the instructors who came in were very, very good, put in a hard time. And there were times that we started the session at 12 o'clock and we finished it only at about quarter to 2 sometimes. So, and we still had the audience on. We still had parents and children and coaches who wanted to know more. With the effort which has been made to make sure that the content of the instructors are put at a place where the participants can source them, it is very, very important and very encouraging, because people who are not a part of Sports Authority of India right now, for example, the coaches, the other coaches can actually source that material for enhancing their skill. So Sports Authority of India as an organization has not been selfish by just making sure that the training session is done only for SAI coaches, but it expanded its bandwidth to everybody, including the players, to be part of this training program. So I think, Sharmaji, I am very happy to be part of this. Very happy that Kamlesh is the moderator, the director who ensured the right trainers, Viswajit and his team, and wonderful experience. Wonderful experience. Thank you for selecting the list. Very close.
थैंक यू मंजू श्री जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच मैडम फॉर योर टाइम. आपने बहुत अच्छा कहा, और अपने कमलेश जी को तो धन्यवाद ही नहीं कर सकते हम लोग, इतना अच्छा उन्होंने किया है. He has spent so much time for us. Thank you, Kamlesh ji. Grateful to you.
No, sir, it's my pleasure.
And Sharath Kamal ji, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
People
sir.
are very happy. I am seeing the messages, appreciating it. Now, MP Singh ji is also online. MP Singh ji, if you would like to speak for a few minutes.
Definitely.
MP Singh साहब.
हाँ जी, हाँ जी, please.
आपका.
साथ.
Yeah, please go on.
टेबल टेनिस फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडिया की तरफ से.
Your voice is very low. Can you speak a little louder?
Hello. Mr.
MP, your voice is coming very softly.
Ravi Mittal ji, Secretary Sports, and Sandeep Pradhan ji, DG साई. मैं इनका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा कि उन्होंने इस प्रोग्राम में हमारे को टेबल टेनिस फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडिया को इंक्लूड किया. शिव शर्मा जी, आपने भी हमारे को बहुत ही मोटिवेट किया कि इस काम को करिए, इससे बच्चों को फायदा होगा, कोचिस का फायदा होगा. ये जो कोचिस का प्रोग्राम चला, इसमें जितने फॉरेन की कोचिस थे, पीटर एंजल है, एलिना है, या ब्रेट क्लार्क है, हमारे आजकल इंडिया में है, या मैसिमो है, जो स्पेशली उन्होंने बड़े कम समय में हमारे को अपने कंसेंट दे के आए हमारे साथ. सबको, प्लेयर्स को, जो जिन्होंने ये देखा या कोचेस ने देखा, हमारे जो इंडियन कोचेस हैं उन्होंने बहुत अच्छे तरीके से समझाया. और सबसे बड़ी बात है कि जो कमलेश मेहता जी ने इन सबको, जिसको भी हिंदी को इंग्लिश में या इंग्लिश को हिंदी में ट्रांसलेट करके प्रॉपरली एक एक चीज को सबको बताया, जिससे कि हर एक आदमी को, जो भी सुन रहा था, देख रहा था, समझ रहा था, जो टेबल टेनिस की नॉलेज रखता है, उसको बहुत फायदा हुआ. मैं फिर दोबारा एक बार सबका आपका धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा. शरद कमल, सत्यन, हरमीत, ये सारे हमारे लेजेंड हैं. इन सबका भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. थैंक यू शर्मा जी. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Singh ji. Really grateful for your time. Now, Kamlesh ji, over to you again. And thereafter, Sharath Kamal for question answer session. Thank you very much for everything.
Absolutely. I would just like to say a few words before you can log out. It is a fantastic platform initiated by Sports Authority of India and Table Tennis Federation of India. So from my side, a personal thanks to all of them. Thanks to Manjushri Madam for being the evaluator and guiding us how to make it better. I would personally want to thank each and every speaker, eminent speaker, who have shared their immense knowledge with us on this platform. Firstly, thank them for readily agreeing to come on the platform, and secondly, working so hard to give the best to all the people. S. Raman, Sharath Kamal, Amitip Roy, Sandeep Gupta, Brett Clark, G. Satyan, Manjit Dua, Peter Engel, Harmit Desai, Massimo Costantini, Elena Chimina, N. Ravichandran, B. Mukamula, Murlidhara Rao, Virendra Gulati, and Neha Agarwal. All of you, I'm extremely grateful to all of you all for readily agreeing and coming and sharing a wonderful experience. I'm sure this will take Indian table tennis to the next level through the coaches and through the participants. Thank you so much for once again another contribution for the game of table tennis in India. Yes, we can go to the question answers. I'm sure a lot of people are very eagerly waiting to Sharath to listen to what you have to say. Before I go to other questions, one question I have for you, Sharath.
Yes.
You were alone in Germany during the injury phase when your wife and your child came back.
Yeah.
That time you were alone, and that was the time when you heard about the second injury. Can you just tell us your thought process that went through you?
I still remember it was a phone call late in the evening at around 7:30 or 8 o'clock. The doctor had called me after his clinic closed. So he had called me and he said, "Yeah, I have some bad news for you. That the operation hasn't gone on very well, and there's nothing much we can do about it now." That night was I saw nightmares. I just saw nightmares. I didn't know what's going to happen. I don't know what would I do. I didn't know if I could play table tennis again, because the doctor himself didn't know if I could play table tennis again. So that's the first thing I asked him on the phone call when he said it doesn't look so good. The operation didn't go on well, and there's nothing much we can do now. I said, okay, through the rehab process, will I be able to practice? He said, not sure. We don't know what can happen. And then I didn't tell my wife. I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want my wife to panic at that point of time. But then after a couple of days, after I think 3 days, I had to tell it out to her because I couldn't keep it to myself. My head was going all over the place with so much of negativity, negative thoughts and everything. So I needed to tell it to somebody and talk about it. So I spoke, and then that was when slowly my wife said, she also said, okay, why don't you come home? And then I spoke to the coach, and he gave me permission to go home. So even when I came back home, I don't think my father thought I could also start back again. Everybody in my family was also thinking that it's over, but somehow I could hold on to it and start working with it. But the moment I went back from Chennai back to Germany, I spent more time in the gym, in the fitness room, with the physio. With the physios, there was of course, every day there were 2 sessions, but still I spent another 2 sessions more by myself in the gym, because I knew, okay, I am getting there. I just need to work a little bit harder, and with the help of my coach, my skill coach was also spending my table tennis coach of the club was also spending time along with me in the gym, because that was the way he contributed. Because he said, anyway, I cannot contribute to you in the hall, so let me come to the gym along with you, spend some time, just let's talk, you do your exercises, let's talk. I think again there the role of the coach was very, very important.
Fantastic. You mentioned about the family, you mentioned about the coach. Did it ever occur during that time that you should not have continued playing the match with Gauzy? And if you're in the same situation again, what will you do?
Yeah, a lot of things were there in my mind, sir, when I was playing that match against Gauzy. I wanted to break the top 30 mark, and I knew that win against Gauzy will get me there. But I fell 2 points, 2 ranks short. I finished 32 in the world by the end of that World Championships. So I wanted to get that. So again, this is exactly the piece of message I'm giving others. There will be another tournament. Don't be anxious. You will always have another chance.
But you won't have another you.
Yes, exactly. So after in 2019 Jan, I broke the top 30 mark. So I
Fantastic.
had that chance.
Fantastic.
I had the chance to break it, but it took me a time. It took me time, but you need to be patient.
Yes, it took you 9 months of time, injury time, when you came back to active table tennis. And during that period, you played lot of matches, and your mental state is at a very high level, but your results were not good, or you lost to players whom you were much lower than you.
Yes.
And that is one of the biggest mental thing that a player goes through. Can you shed some light? What can a player, because there is never going to be up always, there is going to be down for a player.
Yes.
Your views on that, sir?
Yes, sir. As you rightly said, uh, uh, you're not going to win all the time. There are going to be losses. There are going to be low patches. You're going to lose to players. Of course, when I'm able to beat world top 10 player, I will also be able to lose to somebody who's out of 100 or 200 range also. So at that point of time, I think we still need to continue the process. It is a process of getting better. It is just, okay, we lose, we pick up that racket, pick up our bags, get back to the hall and spend more time in the training hall. So it is just a matter of your mental state, because you would have done that preparation, you would have done that amount of required practice, but it is just that mental state at that point of time you're not there because of various reasons. Maybe you're disturbed mentally, maybe the pressure is taking over you, maybe you don't want to lose. You not wanting to lose and then you wanting to win is a big difference. There's a negative state of mind, and you wanting to win is a positive state of mind.
Okay,
So,
Kamlesh, I want to ask a question.
Sure, please.
Sharath,
yes.
During these difficult times when you were actually, trying to recover, did you adhere to any other source of um, uh, or a method for calming yourself down, like music or like yoga or like meditation? Because I think all these three help, and you have not talked about it.
Yes, at that point of time, I didn't do that because I didn't have so much insight. But now I do, especially during the lockdown period. Especially during the lockdown period when there's so much of anxiety and there's so much of negativity, the best way I could, unwind from all of this is yoga and meditation. And that's something which I've learned now. Back then, I didn't think of that as an option, or I didn't even have a mental coach who could help me in those lines. The coach was my mental coach. The physio was, a little bit helping me on those lines. But I didn't have that kind of guidance on these lines, at least per se, back then. But now I would suggest, if any player, that is why I said even in my slide that you need to be occupied. You need to do stuff where you calm your mind and be more positive with the whole outlook of your mentality.
The other thing also which I would like to mention here is that music is very therapeutic. It's very therapeutic. So when there are times that you're actually mentally disturbed or you're depressed, you may have done your yoga, it would have calmed your body and your mind. You may have done meditation, it would have calmed your mind. But what calms your soul? So, in order to calm your inner self, what I personally feel that music is very therapeutic. So, you need to find the right music to calm your mind down, and it takes you away from depression. So, I, personally feel, Kamlesh, that we should tell our coaches also to use music as a therapy because it is therapeutic. So that's all that I have to ask.
Definitely, it's a wonderful message that we have got from Manjushri ma'am, and it's really, music makes you it's a very good tool to relax, to distress. We have heard so many players actually saying that they, before a match, they listen to the favorite music. Well, I also used to do that, motivational songs and all. So it's really definitely working, and it has worked for a lot of us. Sharath, after the injury and surgery, what are the adaptation and changes you had to make in your technique, your strategy of gameplay, and mentally, how did you adapt? What changes you made?
The major changes was my backhand, sir. So as you have been always pushing me to play backhand, it became a necessity. I was not able to. The main problem was I was not able to step around and play forehand. And if I stepped around and play forehand, I couldn't follow the next ball up in the forehand side. So then I had to step around only after a good backhand. Like only when I played a good backhand, that is when I could step around and finish with my forehand. So until then, I had to work with my backhand. So that was one of the major technical changes which I had done. And mentally, I think it was also adaptation and accepting the fact, okay, I cannot play so much forehand now, because still I was complaining to the coaches, I want to play a little bit more forehand, I want to play a little bit more forehand, but no, it's not possible, it's not happening. So okay, what do you do next? So that is how I could mentally also adapt.
Fantastic. Adaptability, changes, etc. are one of the hallmark of longevity of a player, and making sure that you are there where you are. And even if you go down for a moment, your persistence, your discipline, and your belief in yourself is going to take you back where you can reach.
Yeah.
And one more thing I would say that you've been talking about a lot of teamwork, physio, doctor, etc. So if given a wish, what would be your wish that when the Indian team or Indian players go out, what kind of support staff they should always have for them to compete? Or how do you compare them with German teams or Chinese and Japanese team? What kind of support staff they have, and would want the Indian team or the Indian players to adapt that?
Sir, Japan, when they come to the Pro Tours, they have more support staff than the players, because each player has support staff. they have physios, they have sparring partners, they have personal coaches.
Oh,
So, but okay, that's a little bit too much to ask for. But I would say that as a national team, firstly, as a national team, we should be having a physio, a masseur, a mental coach, a nutritionist. These are four basic people who are able to help us with the daily process, because these are the ones who are going to help us with the daily process. And not just with the national team, I still feel now when you go down lower into clubs, I still feel you need to have a basic strength and conditioning coach or a fitness coach, because as Indians, we do lack playing sport, because we don't have the infrastructure. As just kids, we don't do so much of sport, so we are not physically very fit. So the fitness coach can come in here and teach basic fitness to to not for professionals playing, but just for basic life fitness for your daily livelihood. It's very, very important, because if you stay fit, you're healthy in your mind also.
A wonderful message to all the coaches and all those who are listening, that physical fitness and the support staff, right, you should imbibe in the children right from the beginning at the small club area. It's not that only when you reach at a certain level it is important. It's let us imbibe into them right from the beginning. Doesn't matter if they are not playing at the higher level, any level they are playing, at least this will help them to become a fitter person, a fitter citizen, and a better citizen for India. It will make India fitter as well as a better place, better country. And if I have to use to mention that Japanese, there are so many players, support staff is more. Of course, budget constraints are always there. But one thing, we know that in India, Sports Authority of India and Ministry of Youth and Affairs and Sports does a lot for sportsmen. Of course, they also do have their own limitation. But if there was a wish list for you to be given, the one wish list of support staff that should go with every Indian team, what would be that?
Masseur, physio, strength and conditioning coach, mental coach. If the let's
it's a
say
wish list, huh? We're not looking at restrictions.
No, because a dietitian, more than a dietitian, I would prefer a cook, because Indians being vegetarians, and the kind of food we are used to on upbringing, it would be good to have somebody who can make simple things. We don't want I don't know, paneer butter masalas or simple stuff. which we can have as a post meal or a pre meal or during competitions, something like that. Because many times as Indians, most of them go hungry during matches, between matches, because they don't have, because when you're eating, the organizers, when they provide a lot of non-vegetarian food. They don't have vegetarian options, so they only end up eating when they go back to the hotel, when they have their own food which they've got along with them. So a cook would also be fantastic.
Well, definitely, because when we are aiming to win medals in Olympic, we have to think that way. There's nothing wrong in saying so. Yes, we do understand everybody has their own restriction, but yes, we should have a wish list. And like you said about the food, especially for vegetarian like me, I know I had an issue. I went to one of the world championship where I used to survive on rice and ketchup.
Yes,
That was in
they
Japan.
still many times the girls have this issue. So boys still, we are eating, like even the vegetarians, they eat a little bit of non-vegetarian, like chicken or fish, so they manage it. But for girls, it's still a major issue.
I know when we had gone to China for training, there was only a certain kind of food given, which was not suiting. We had about 23 players, and where Mona Lisa was also there. So she would go into the kitchen and cook for the Indian players with the Indian masala. So, of course, that actually made them very happy, and in fact, elevated the mood in the camp.
Exactly. Yeah. True.
Wonderful. I think there are so many things that we learned from you, Sharath, today, and it has motivated all of us. Thank you so much for it. And we all want you to be there till at least 2024 Olympics. So please don't ever think of retirement.
Yes.
India needs you, and you are capable of winning and doing well for all of us. And wonderful session. I must say that all good things must end, and this the entire program also. This is the last session, so it's going to end now. With the thanks to all the technical staff, Viswajit, you and your team have done a wonderful job. Great. Thank you to all of you for making it possible and taking us on. Of course, I have said thanks to Sports Authority of India and Mr. Shiv Sharma for initiating all this, Mr. MP Singh, Secretary General Table Tennis Federation of India, for coming in, all those participants. Your participation, your being there, your questions answered, maybe many of the questions we might not have been able to take it. Please understand. But your participation has been very, very encouraging and motivating to all of us. And we look forward to seeing India a better and a stronger table tennis playing nation. Thank you, Sharath, once again for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bishwajit. Thank you, all the coaches.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Kamlesh, and thank you, Sharath, sir. And also, I would again thank Manjushri, ma'am. And lastly, from the part on behalf of the technical team, I would like to also thank Kamlesh, sir, for mentoring us throughout. And also, special mention of Mr. Manikant Kumar, who is my colleague, and he has been supporting me throughout these sessions. And
thank you, Manikant.
Yeah. Lastly, all the participants, without whom these sessions would not have been possible to be such a fruitful one. So thank you all. We'll be expecting that we'll be coming up with more such sessions in the near future. Till then, have a great time ahead. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, we can leave the meeting now?
Yes, sir, you can.
Thank you.
I'll just put up the slides once again of the.
Yeah, right. Thank you so much. Bye. Thank you, Sharath. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So anyone who is interested in attending these online examinations may just have a look at this. The dates have been given. 31st is the sports science, and on 30th will be the sports disciplines. That is, you can give your TT examinations on 30th. There will be 30 multiple choice questions with 4 options for each, and you have to tick the correct option. And total time duration will be of 30 minutes. Community certificate will be issued subsequent to passing of the examination to all the attendees. So it's a must for all the Psy coaches and all the others who want to go for this examination. You are welcome. The registration details and how to register all these details will be shared to you. Hopefully you have been filling up the form that is being shared, the contact information form that is being shared in the chat box. So will just track back through that form through your contacts and give you the relevant information regarding registration, and also through the WhatsApp groups. So thank you for joining. We'll end the session here today. Have a great day. Thank you.